Welcome back. Let's take a look. I'm really hoping you guys get the notifications for this. I do apologize. This was the very first time ever that's happened where it just completely cuts out. And hopefully I'll be able to piece it together. It looks like there's only about 6 minutes of the video saved on there, and I wasn't actually recording this locally. So I'm really hoping that everything does work out. But ultimately, guys, what we were talking about, and I will jump right into each story. And for those of you guys who missed out, it continued on my end, and it looked like everything was fine, and it said reconnecting, and it looked like everything was live, but I don't know if that's actually the case. So we'll have to see what ends up happening. The main part of the story is this. 3 stories in one that are impacting the trucking in the near future, right? The potential strikes by the ILA, which is the International Longshoremen Association, on October 1st, they're looking at, dock workers, longshoremen, all sorts of workers out there. The union is striking in the East and the Gulf Coast ports. This is a big deal. Hey guys, thanks for stopping by. If you guys can do me a favor and hit the like button, whether you're watching the video live or if you're watching the video on replay. We had a disconnect and so I do appreciate said reconnecting, but weren't sure if if it was working or not. So I decided to start over. The second story was that the elevated port activity in Los Angeles, they saw in August a huge amount, nearly 1 million TEUs, a 16% increase year over year. And now it looks like a lot of that freight is going to be shipped through there. And so we'll have to see what's actually going to be happening. And so truckers should prepare for busy seasons and, moving goods and a lot of headaches and, working with the ports. Coming out with the deliveries. Now, the final thing is the third part of this, the piece of the puzzle is government's non-intervention policy. So Biden basically says he's not going to get involved. He's going to leave it to the parties to figure things out. So typically the government can force a temporary end to strikes under the Taft Hartley Act if there's a financial market or a national security risk. But Biden's stance is basically just to let the ILA and the port authorities figure it out. And so that's going to be a big deal. So that's kind of the synopsis there. But let's jump into this. This is really the meat and potatoes of the story. And again, I do apologize for the technical difficulties. I don't know what happened. Very first time. Hopefully we won't have that happen again. And hopefully yet I'll be able to piece it together with this video. I do apologize. Next, on the agenda, what this means for the trucking industry, what you guys all came together here for today. Number one, immediate disruptions and capacity tightening. Okay, immediate. Should the ILA strike move forward? Should it actually go ahead? Ports like New York, New Jersey, Savannah, and Houston will face delays, impacting truckers who haul freight from these hubs. Fewer loads and longer wait times will be common, but tightening capacity will eventually lead to higher rates for truckers who remain flexible and adaptable. Once freight starts moving again, rates will rise as demand outweighs supply. Supply and demand, we know this. There's still an overcapacity issue. We're still unlikely to see anything that we saw back in 2021, peak years. But that doesn't mean that markets will not shift. The industry has become a lot more efficient. There's a lot more that's been put into effect over the last 4 years, 4 to 5 years almost. And it's making it possible for some carriers, generally the larger carriers, to run more efficiently and so become more profitable with the lower operating rates because they've been able to lower their operating expenses, right? Operating costs. So there's that. Not everyone's able to do that, especially at scale. Awesome. Thanks again for everybody who jumped back in. So we actually started talking about what it actually means for the trucking industry. Number one, immediate disruptions and capacity tightening. It's going to suck at first, then it's going to get better. Pressure on the West Coast. West Coast ports will see increased traffic as shippers reroute goods, creating potential backlogs. We already know how West Coast does it, right? Not the very best at it. And they're already being peaked out and being pushed to their limits, hitting near all-time highs. However, for truckers, this opens up new opportunities. A surge in freight in the West Coast will drive rate increases for those willing to navigate the congestion. So again, if you're willing to deal with it, it's fine. And you should, keep in the back of your mind that it's going to be frustrating, that you're doing it for the money, that this is part of the, this part of the game. This is just completely normal. So for those of you guys in that part of the industry, absolutely. But that freight's going to come off, it's going to get onto trucks as well. It's going to go to OTR. It's going to go throughout the country. It's going to go local, regional OTR. So you guys are all going to take advantage of that. We're going to be on the back end of that, not right away. We're going to definitely feel the pinch of this on the market, especially as West Coast gets overwhelmed. The Northeast gets overwhelmed with nothing coming in and just being forever to unload stuff. What are we going to be doing? It's going to be wintertime. Northern states, southern states, and the South and Southeast are going to once again get packed in with a lot of people as they do every winter, except even worse. Rates are going to plummet there, and it's going to be mainly Midwest and the northern states and the mountain region that nobody ever wants to go to, right? So there is that. Now, the long-term market impact on this, after rate increases and everything, this could have lasting effects going into 2025. Now, all the big talking heads are saying 2025 is when you can expect rates to start increasing, markets to start normalizing, and for everybody to live, hunky-dory and find equilibrium in the market. It may or may not be the case. I do think we're definitely, that's definitely a better indicator for 2025 than the rest of 2024. But even after the strike resolves, tight capacity will continue to benefit truckers as retailers work to replenish inventories. Again, go back and watch the old videos regarding the LMI. That's exactly what we talked about, that they were holding back, closing out the quarters, doing their buying further in for the holiday seasons. And now they get hit with this, right? The ILA and the unions, right? The unions, the port authorities. So those who prepare to find more loads, better paying rates, and continuing demand for their services, you guys will be fine. You will find that out there. And that's, again, make sure your dispatchers are aware of that. I mean, our guys are aware of this. They watch the videos. We talk all the time. We have communication. There's management at different levels, supervisory people in supervisory positions, and there's constant monitoring and moving and working. And plus, our guys are some of the most experienced in the industry because we've been doing this for so long, and we take care of our guys, and so they stick around, and so it's like a snowball effect kind of a thing, a very good positive snowball effect. But even then, just make sure whoever you're working with that they're aware. You should be aware. Maybe talk to your dispatcher if and feel them out. Make sure that they actually know what's going on. But if they're running a lot of trucks for many years, they should know because they should be reading the markets like no other. So, before I do anything, guys, I want to jump in here about 7 minutes in the second version of this video. Motor carriers, owner-operators, folks, if you need truck dispatch services, when the market goes to crap, it's going to go to crap not only because there's going to be low amount of freight, low amount of volume, low amount of tonnage, but it's going to go down because there's going to be a lot of folks that are going to be taking whatever they can get. They don't know how to negotiate. They don't understand the markets. Brokers will be taking advantage of people. That altogether, by taking cheap freight, is going to lower the markets further. Companies will start to go out of business again. It's going to last for a short period of time. There will be major losses. This is not doom and gloom. This is just reality. We just went through the stories. After that, it's going to bounce back. I would highly suggest getting yourself a dispatcher. Why? Well, because I have a dispatch service. I'd love for you guys to sign up. Besides that, the reason being is that when the markets go down, you want to be able to average down. Our rates are going to go down too. Promise you. It happens every time. But the difference is that we're going to average down slower. We've done it before. When the markets crashed, we watched it. We've ran the numbers. We've compared the numbers. We went down. The market went down. Everybody else went down. Absolutely. But we went down slower, and it's like a soft landing, right? Everybody that talks about like having a soft landing, we actually achieved a soft landing for our customers, okay, during like the worst times of the market. So that's one reason to have a good dispatcher. The other reason for it is that when it eventually bottoms out, finds the new floor, pushes back up, and starts to increase, you want to be able to ride that thing out, market to market to market, day to day to day to day, and just swing through it. Our smartest customers are the ones who stuck around with us for years. We have customers that have been with us for years with the same exact dispatcher. They're like brothers now. And they trust each other, and they know how each person works, and they know, that sometimes the dispatchers screw up. Some of our guys will take big risks, and we won't take big risks, like risky loads, with certain carriers or certain owner-operators because, they're just not like risk-averse or whatnot. But other guys are open to that, and they usually do benefit quite a bit. But you don't want to be doing that all the time and with the wrong dispatcher. You really want to have someone who has a good track record. Nonetheless, I'm kind of getting into the nitty-gritty of that stuff. But my point is that We have guys of different personality, different approaches. They have a lot of experience, and you want to be in a position that when a market's tanking, you're going down as well, but you're actually averaging out better than everyone else. And then you're coming up, and on the way back up, you're averaging up again. It's all a game of averages. You want to make sure you're never leaving money on the table. You're never underpricing stuff, so you're never like leaving a good place to go to a crappy place that you know you're going to have hell to pay, but you didn't take enough money going there. So that's just a couple examples for you guys right there. So how should you guys prepare, right? Guys, do me a favor. 10 minutes in, if you could hit the like the video. Would you help me out? We'll get this video out there, and hopefully we'll get this thing corrected. So how you should prepare. Anticipate rising freight rates, okay? So we've talked about this for a little bit. With the market finally stabilizing, capacity tightening is leading to fewer trucks available to haul freight. This shift will push rates higher, creating better opportunities for truckers, as well as small carriers. As we enter the fourth quarter and beyond into 2025, expect rates to rise as demand for trucking services increases. So, for those of you guys who are company drivers, that's a better time to ask for a raise or to look for another position. For those of you guys who are leased on owner operators, that's around the time to start looking around what the lease outfit is charging you and what they're actually bringing in on the averages on the numbers. If you want to use a barometer, use our videos, go back a few weeks, forward through the stories or whatnot, get to the loads part, and then just look to some of those things that are similar to how you run. So, if you're a van, don't look at a flatbed. If you're a reefer, don't look at a van. You know what I mean? So just kind of compare, run some numbers, look at the numbers, and then just take it with a grain of salt because those are some of the best for the week. So not everyone's doing that well. But you can do that. You'll see week after week, some names will just repeat. Sometimes one week, one guy will have a good week, and then like literally the next week he'll have a good week, which is that says a lot because most of these things are cyclical. You have a good week, then you have a crappy week, then you have a good week, then you have a crappy week. Because you end up in a good market, you end up in a bad market. You have to come out. You have to bite the bullet somewhere. So it's very rare when you do really, really well week after week after week. And we've had guys that have been doing that for like 3 weeks straight. Really, really good stuff. So that says a lot about the dispatchers. So anticipate rising freight rates. Make sure that from now on, moving forward, you're staying up on what's going on. Look at all the data. Look at where the freight's moving. Talk to the brokers. Talk to your dispatcher. Talk to the shippers. Every time you're stopping by, shippers, receivers, talk to the lumpers. Talk to the guys over there. It's always good to, kind of chat them up. They're pretty busy and tired and this and that, and you're just hanging out anyway. So you might as well get out there and just socialize a little bit. And you might get some good nuggets of information. Second thing you want to do is leverage tighter capacity. Fewer available trucks means shippers and brokers have less choice, which gives truckers the power to negotiate better rates. This is a time for truckers to be strategic, offering their services where demand is highest and capacity is tightest. Of course, that's the whole point of dispatching your trucks out, right? You want to make sure that you exit those markets properly, you enter other markets properly as well. So that's the idea. That's why sometimes you'll see some of our guys will take like a cheap load, or they'll take something that's like kind of short, and you're like, why would you do that? That wastes so much time. But the truth is they make money and they actually shift into a much better market at a very good rate, out of which they're going to come out at a fantastic rate. So it actually benefits them. So a lot of people, they work harder rather than smarter. You could actually end up with a whole lot less miles, a lot less diesel burned, a lot less wear and tear, and with a fantastic gross and a very limited cost, at least on the fuel side. And then also consider the less miles you put on, the less liability you're taking on with someone else's freight being on the road moving a giant heavy vehicle through space. So, it's better to be parked making money rather than just running for the sake of running. So the third thing you guys want to do to prepare yourself is, of course, secure more profitable loads, right? Well, easier said than done. Like I said, get yourself a dispatcher and forget about it. Make sure it's a good dispatcher. Make sure it's not a crappy dispatcher. Make sure they actually know what they're talking about. And it's not just those relentless guys that will just spam you to death in your phone calls and texts and all the other stuff, right? So just be really careful. Recently talked to a gentleman, this is a couple of weeks, maybe a few weeks now, who was very, very concerned because they talked him into giving him a bunch of documents, and he gave all his company information to them, and I never heard back from them. And then he couldn't really reach them, and he just wasn't sure what they could potentially do, the kind of damage that they could actually do with the documents, like his personal company information. So 3, secure more profitable loads. As capacity shrinks, there will be more chances for truckers to pick up profitable loads. Whether you want, to lock in dedicated lanes, I'm fine with that. We got guys that as they work with us, they were able to lock in dedicated lanes. That's fine. Take it, man. It's a tough market. You got to do what you got to do. You're not here to feed us. You're here to feed yourself, your family, your loved ones. That's why you're in business, right? We're here to benefit you. And if that's the best benefit, then do that. In many cases, we've been able to get guys backhauls, bring them back. Sometimes they might be able to do really successful backhaul, get in, get out, come back out, take one extra load at that high rate that they're getting at their dedicated. And man, extra money. It's fantastic. So if that's what you're looking for, great. Or if you want to take advantage of higher paying loads in a spot market, absolutely. Spot market was killing contract back in 21. So this is the moment to capitalize on shrinking capacity. Now, another thing that you won't hear, but I will tell you, and the reason for it is because it costs $5,000 for a year to get this, and just so happens to be that I paid that subscription fee. I can get information on like new MCs that have opened in the last any amount of days from between 0 and 60. And so I follow that and I keep pulling it. And then, we don't call on those guys. There's, really not much that we can do there. But the reason I pull that up is because it gives me an idea of what's happened day to day, month to month, and how many registrations of MC numbers that actually went into effect with an active insurance policy. And what I've been seeing is that number has actually been lower and lower and lower. Now, for someone who wants to use those leads to sell people something or to sell those folks something, that's not good news, right? That's not enough. But for you and I, that's great news because that means that less and less new companies are activating their MC, right? Now, it's another thing you might want to look at, like Sonar, for example. They have some information, certain data that would really help in understanding where the outbound market is, where the inbound market is, where the amount of trucks are, who's adding trucks, who's adding trailers, that kind of thing. And that will actually paint a really good picture. But I believe unless they've changed their pricing model, I think that's another $7,000 for that annual subscription, or $7,500 or something like that. So it's somewhere in that ballpark. But good information, good stuff. So definitely secure more profitable loads. Finally, number 4, prepare for a strong fourth quarter, guys. Fourth quarter, early 2025. Doesn't look bad. The market will remain tight through the fourth quarter with demand expected to stay high into early 2025. Truckers who adapt and stay informed will benefit from better rates and more profitable routes. The supply chain could take time to recover, but fewer trucks on the road mean greater demand for those still operating. Okay? So the fact is, you can't lose if you don't quit, right? You just have to keep plugging away. You just got to do it. And look at it like this: if you're a trucking company that's been in business, say for 4 years, right? So say you started September of 2020, now it's September 2024. You're a 4-year-old MC. You went through all the emotional ups and downs, the roller coaster. You made a bunch of money. You lost a bunch of money. You've learned a lot, and now it's at that point where change is about to happen. The last thing you want to do is get out now, because you've just eaten all of that humble pie, right? So, and you've digested it, and you're ready to roll. You're ready for your second helping, but not a humble pie. At this point, the flavor changes. You're gonna make some money. You're gonna make some things, unless you quit, unless you drop out, unless you allow your negative Nancy inside of you, the doom and gloomer inside of you, the whatever it is you want to call it, to get to you. Man, you're a failure. This and that, all the stuff. No, it's not. It's the market. It's the market. Plus, it could be the way that you've set up. Now, it's very good. There's a really, really good chance that if you did it 4 years ago, September 2020, you went out and opened up a company and bought a truck and a trailer and all this stuff, you actually probably ended up buying it at a good price. A good price for all equipment. Your insurance might have been fine. Financing was still, at decent rates, et cetera, et cetera. So the truth of the matter is, unless you got into business at 2022 or something, or 2023, I don't know, you went in and you bought brand new equipment and just went all out and put it on credit at high interest rates, stuff like that, then yeah, but by now you're probably out of business anyway. So that's the thing, or you may have already re-entered the industry. So in conclusion, it really comes down to you got to hold on, guys. You got to hold on. Things are changing, and this is a crazy time. And we have the strike, and we have Biden staying out of it, and we have the whole concept of striking during the busiest time of year for shipping. So while the freight market remains unpredictable, shrinking capacity means truckers and small carriers can expect better opportunities. At AFT Dispatch, we're here to help you navigate these market changes, secure the best loads, maximize your profits. So get in touch with us. Not today. If you call me today, I won't pick up the phone. Alex won't either. But contact us to learn how we can support you in making the most out of market conditions and plan for a successful 2025. Again, we lease on owner-operators as well. We work with carriers, have your own MC authority. We're quite, conservative on our estimates. We'll be really honest with you. If you're honest with us about the numbers you're bringing in, and we'll tell you up front many times. Alex does it too. I do it as well. I tell folks, you're doing really well. You're doing really well. You don't need our services. You don't need a dispatch service. Sometimes I tell folks who call me and say, I'm looking to do this and that, like locals and stuff, or I want to do regionals. I want to do LTL, box trucks, straight trucks, whatever. I tell them we don't even do that. And honestly, if I was you, I wouldn't look for a dispatcher for that type of work. They're always shocked to hear that. But yeah, I tell them and then the next thing is they really don't like hearing the fact that they have to do their own legwork. So then, if you thought business was easy, then, that was, that wasn't true, that someone lied to you. So Halo says, let them go on strike. The longer, the better for ports. Freight rates will go through the roof. Halo, you're absolutely right. And that's the point. But when that happens, what's going to happen at that time is it's going to get rough, man. It's going to get really, really, really rough. And a lot of people are in different positions. So you might be in a spot where you got, $50K laying around. The truck just got out of the shop. Everything got taken care of. You got a full tanks of diesel. You got, $35K coming in account receivables that you're waiting on that's aging. You're not using a factoring company. You're not throwing any money away. Your insurance is as cheap as can be. All your equipment's paid off. Everything's beautiful. And you're like, you know what? If this takes 2 months, if this destroys the market, I know the upside's amazing after this, but and you could do that. And there's some guys out there in a very good financial position. But now imagine you're in a spot where it's just been crappy, bad, and everything's like over leveraged, expensive. You don't have your MC's not aged. You're just struggling. You just been grinding, pushing through, and it seems like it's getting easier. Then another week goes down and it's up and down and up and down. And then all of a sudden, you're looking at like port strike. Everything goes to crap potentially for 2 months. And things are going to get real good, but you just don't have it in you anymore. You don't have it like morally, emotionally, like physically maybe. You've been on the road for months at a time. So everyone's in a different spot. Some people more than others, and some people have set themselves up for success while others did it for failure. So it looks like Life in a Box is saying if they're not unloading freight, I would say the rates will drop, not rise. Exactly. That's my point. So rates would plummet. Tonnage would go down. The amount of freight availability would go down. Guys, it's from Massachusetts all the way down to Texas. We're talking Savannah. And we're talking all the way up potentially into New York, New Jersey port. So that's like the entire Northeast going down. I mean, things will be coming in, but it's going to be such a cluster, whatever wrong button. Nonetheless, it's going to be a bottlenecks. It's going to be frustration. It's going to be a lot of hours of service burnt over there. And they might have like decent rates coming out, but it's not going to be worth it. A lot of people will still do it. That freight will come out. It will hit the market. But what's going to happen is that once it gets cleaned up, that's when you're going to have that the rate increases. But Life in a Box, 100% correct. If they're not unloading freight rates would drop, not rise, because the amount of freight would decrease substantially. But Halo is saying that, let them strike, the longer the better for the ports. Freight rates will go through the roof. And what he's saying about this is that eventually, once they get back into business, it's going to be such a huge amount of freight that's what's going to happen. Life in a Box also says, great video. My personal opinion is we're going to have the worst winter for trucking ever. Honestly, man, I agree with you. I don't want to say winter. I'm really hoping. But you know what? Winter is always slow. And I honestly think this one's going to be worse. And so I have to kind of agree with you on this one. They're saying that the market will start, showing signs of life in 2025. But to be honest with you, they've been saying that for 2 years. And not only that, winter is really, really tough. Usually things are rough all the way to about March, right? So through about March, stuff is really, really rough. If you have a port closure, and let's say that lasts a significant amount of time, considering the lagging effect of that in the trucking market, you're looking at what? At best, end of November, getting into December. No, that's going to absolutely destroy the end of 2024, fourth quarter. Now, getting into 2025, that's when maybe those analysts are correct. It would actually get in. Now, that would still be winter, because you're probably looking at January, February, and traditionally January and February are extremely bad, right? So especially after New Year's and Christmas and all that stuff. So the problem is that it's, at best, we may see kind of like nothing play out, kind of like that, until it starts to open up again. He says, Halo says COVID shot rates through the roof because freight was on water. What's going to happen is when they go back to work, freight's going to be so much nobody's going to be able to haul because trucks already have a load. And Halo says, I done seen it, been in business for over 30 years. There it is. What Halo's describing is exactly how I would foresee it happening. It just creates a bottleneck. It stretches your, what's it called? Oh, God, words aren't working today. Your, when we were kids, what was it? God, what's the word? You used to shoot rocks and pebbles and stuff like that. Anyway, you guys know. Parents used to always yell at you for breaking windows and stuff. Anyway, I was not the best kid. Nonetheless, what's going to happen is going to stretch that out. It's going to stretch it out. Eventually, when it lets it go, it's gonna only have a forward trajectory with a lot of momentum behind it, and a lot of these trucks by then will have exited the market. The market is cleaning itself up. It has been. It has been for a long time. Slingshot, that's it right there. Thank you, Deepu. That's the one. Yeah, it's towards the end of the day, and we're having some tech issues earlier today. The video, the first one didn't. It kind of cut off, and I don't even know where it's at this point. So, nonetheless, yeah, I do think that Halo, you're absolutely right. Halo, he said Life in a Box started back in '96 himself, and still running, looks like. So I definitely appreciate two old timers over here giving us a bit of some good knowledge. We really appreciate your time in industry, your advice, your tidbits that you can provide us, and we definitely appreciate your time here. Deepu said, even if the strike happens, if the president forces the Taft Act, the slowdown will still hurt. Will it make rates go up or down? I don't know. Just imagine boxes coming out of 1/3 the speed they used to. So there's that. Yeah. So, but here's the thing. The president already said that he wasn't going to get into it with the Taft Act. I don't even know the name. What's the word? Taft-Hartley Act. Biden actually said his stance is to leave. Biden's stance leaves resolution up to the ILA and port authorities, raising the stakes. So he already made a statement saying that no, he's not going to get involved in that. That could change. They are politicians after all. But I don't know. I think this is where I needed to use one of these. But at the end of the day, guys, I just want to make sure that our viewers, our customers, everyone that we work with, that watches our videos, understands that these markets are cyclical. But when they basically stick a spanner in there, it screws it all up. And eventually the market has to turn around, but it slows it down again. And when the markets get into these territories where the moving average is moving constantly down, and it's just like finding new lows, just like in a stock market, what ends up happening is a really hard time coming back up. When it does, then it starts to really ramp up. But if something crappy happens, then it really slows it down. But sometimes, again, crappy things benefit us, benefit us a lot. So this is going to actually benefit the trucking industry. If it happens, right now, we don't know if it's going to happen or not. There's a lot of coverage on this. A lot of folks agree that the contracts will not renew at the old terms. A lot of people do think that they will come to some sort of a consensus. That will take time. However, We have, as an example, Canada with their railroad strike just a few weeks ago, and we made a video about that as well. Let's see, where was it? Right here. Was it that long ago? I could swear it was. There it is, the Canadian rail strike. So that was only 4 weeks ago. And guess what? We were at the time in the same position we are today with this one, because we thought, okay, it might happen, might not, this and that. And then they jumped in and they fixed it. They fixed it all very, very quickly, and it had almost no effect whatsoever on the supply chain to industry. We could have the same exact thing happen here. But I don't know. I think American politics moves even slower than Canadian politics, although I might be wrong there. And then Deepu says, yeah, he said he wouldn't, but come on, $5 billion a week and build up a per day. The Dems lost the Teamsters. Yeah, then that's exactly it. Politicians will I should say pollute. So the truth of the matter is they could change their mind. They spin on a dime, whatnot. The fact of the matter is they say one thing now, they say another thing tomorrow, and then the following day they tell you that they never said any of those things in the first place. And when video footage comes out of them saying things, they say that it's not actually me. That's my long lost cousin, Vinny. So, the truth of the matter is, guys, it's very, very difficult, and it's very, very hard to know where we're going to go. But a port strike in October, that spells trouble. So be aware. Forewarned is forearmed. Be aware that when the markets crap out, when the rates go down, when you go to your normal market areas that you pick up freight, when you go to your dedicateds, when you go to your broker customers that you've always taken freight from them, might not be dedicated, but they've always taken freight from them, they've always taken care of you, and the rates drop, and they tell you that's the case, that's actually the case. The broker's not lying. Now, they might still have more money. They might actually be making more money off of the downturn, kind of shorting the stock almost. It's not a stock, but almost shorting it, because they could actually pay you a whole lot less and take a bigger margin off of a smaller total gross. So they can actually make more money in a way with the market going down than going up. On a way going up, rates come up, they can charge more to the customers, take again a bigger margin. It's good to be a broker that has customers. Nonetheless, the idea is that you have to be able to operate during the bad market time. Don't beat yourself up. It's going to be rough, and just be aware that's normal. But this is kind of like the market finishing up the year, kicking out the tail end. Better things are looking. When this thing turns around, it's going to be a lot better. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it's going to be huge. It's going to be a second COVID. It's going to be this and that. No. It absolutely will not be like that. We still have way too much capacity, which means we still have way too many trucks. They're slowly trickling out, and the bigger boys are putting on a lot of their equipment out in auction and selling, but then buying new equipment. So the bigger boys are actually expanding, but the small MCs are shutting down, and that's what's happening. The industry is actually becoming more of the bigger companies swallowing up each other, and then there's like a whole bunch of the smaller carriers working as independent owner-operators, right, that are out there. Or there's like guys like A2C who are leased on owner-operator fleet, right? So 100% they lease on owner-ops to come in and work under them. But the bottom line is that there's only a few of those. The biggest contenders are actually expanding, and they're swallowing up some of their competitors. And they're getting more and more newer equipment. So do understand that. For you guys who are smaller, you might have one truck. Again, we talked about it earlier in the video. Maybe you have one truck, one trailer. Maybe your company is only a year old. Maybe it's less than a year old. But on the other hand, you have guys who have the same situation. One truck, one trailer. It's a 4-year, company, your MC, or maybe it's a 2-year company. You still got 2 more years or 3 more years on that loan to pay on your truck. The interest rate's high. All this stuff is beating you up. Maybe at home it's a little bit tough. The money's tough. Be aware, all that is understood, but just be ready that if you have it in you financially to be able to get and coast through this period by having a smaller loss or having smaller gains, a gain's a gain, but one way or another, if you're able to maybe change your insurance if you have some renewals, or maybe better ways to doing it. Maybe you could, if you're going to be running regional or something that's not as OTR, you could lower your operating radius. Maybe a few different things that you could do for yourself. So at the end of the day, if you're able to get through this period, just don't give up, knowing that the market will improve, but don't expect like, hey, we're going to have $6 a mile, freight hands down across the board, one pick, one drop, Salt Lake City, Utah to, Cranberry, New Jersey for, $18,000 or something like that. Nah, 20 grand or something like that. But that's happened, but that was COVID money. All right. That was COVID money. So just be aware about that. Scott Correa says, been at this game since 1988. Never seen it like it is today. Hopefully it gets better soon. Seeing all the cheapo freight hauling mega carriers renting their trailers for $5 a day on Repower is a pretty good sign of the times. Scott, thank you very much for the comment. Again, thank you for running since 1988. There's a lot of folks that could learn a lot from you guys. We had some fantastic comments from Halo, Life in a Box, and now Scott Correa with some fantastic comments. All three of these guys are some old school veterans. And again, I really appreciate you guys stopping by in today's video. Again, this one's segmented. We got disconnected on our video. I don't know how much. It looks like about 6 minutes. The desktop software I'm using, Streamlabs, showed me that it was successfully reconnected and continued. So I continued the stream, but it looked like that wasn't actually true. So I restarted the stream, gave you guys at the beginning a quick synopsis of what we were going to talk about. It was 3 stories connected together regarding the port strikes in the Northeast. So just be aware, this will be affecting every one of us, from company drivers to leased on owner operators to carriers to absolutely everyone. Be aware, get yourself a strong dispatcher. Make sure it's someone that you give them a little bit of time. Don't expect fantastic stuff. Like I would get set up next week and give them a few weeks. They got to get all your documents, all the passwords figured out. All this stuff has to get figured out. There's going to be problems that first week. There's probably not going to be a great week. You're going to wonder, why am I hiring a dispatcher if my numbers are lower? That might be the case. That doesn't mean that that's going to always be the case. First week is tough. First week is rough. It's very difficult. So just be aware of that. But get yourself a good dispatcher. And then you also got to remember that like you give them that leeway. You give them that, let's say 2-3 weeks to work. And then you find out like, yeah, you were right. That dispatcher sucks. Okay, now that's good. You got rid of them. Now you got to find another one. You got to give them another couple weeks, right? You got to give it a shot. You got to try all this stuff because now they went to an RMIS. They've updated some of your documents. They've set up some other stuff out there. And also be careful about the contracts you sign, the agreements you sign. What kind of stipulations are on there? What are the requirements on the exit clauses if you were trying to leave the organization? Now, we don't have any of that kind of crap, but I know a lot of companies that do. So don't just go signing agreements left and right thinking that, oh, well, what are they going to do? You know what I mean? A lot of these guys are like enriching themselves without really doing much work, but by basically exercising the parts of their agreements written by attorneys to really benefit them upon your exit. When you find out that you signed up with some crappy company, that's not going to really benefit you, right? So there is that. Be careful. And that's just not just dispatch services. That's just across the board in the trucking industry and generally in life. But ultimately, trucking, the industry is really dirty. There's a lot of bad actors, and just be aware of that. Especially when you're new, they get a whiff of that, and they're going. Some of these guys that are bad actors, they're going to take advantage of that situation. So be really, really careful. Won't make this any longer than it has to be. Visit our website, aftdispatch.com. More information there for carriers and lease on owner operators. You can also get more information by calling or texting us at 801-448-6363. The website's super easy. What you guys can do is you simply go here. This is the homepage, and whether you're on mobile or not, you're going to see 2 options: motor carriers, owner operators. Our service is super, super simple. Just these 2 things. One level of service for owner operators, one level of service for carriers. So that's all it is. You fill this out. The owner operator side is a little bit more customizable because you might have your own truck, you might have your own trailer, you might have your own plates, you might have like other things that are in place. Your insurance might be at a different rate. For example, your bobtail coverage. So there's it's a little bit more flexible. The dispatch side is super, super simple. It's just straightforward. You work with the same dispatcher over and over again. You build up a relationship with that guy, and you get through these market times. That's why I have customers that are like, been with us, same customer, 4 years, like going on 5 years with the same exact customer. Why? Because their average is that way. And like the longer they work, the better their averages are year to year. They're not looking at weeklies now. They're not even looking at monthlies now. Now this guy can actually say, you know what, over the last 5 years, here's the rate, like here's what's going on. He can compare it to other people. He can compare gross. He can compare miles. He can compare all sorts of stuff. And obviously he does that because he continues to remain with us. So I'd love to have you guys come in, work with us, be some of our customers. And if that's not something that would like benefit you guys, or if it's something that you really don't need, or if you don't want to do it, that's cool. That's totally fine. If you're a new carrier, you need to get a few things. You need special permits, and you need to get ready for your new entrant audit. So I try to talk about this quickly pretty much in every video. We have an email, and I'm going to be actually improving that one. But for now, it's going to have to be the old stuff. I can send it to you guys for free. Alex can send it to you guys for free as well. There's no issues. In the same email, we'll show you how to get most of your permits at no cost, free. We'll give you all the phone numbers, where to click, links, email addresses, whatever, all that stuff. And then the other thing is there's going to be a link you can click for an attachment of a PDF document. It's only like 4 pages long, but it has all the questions that the DOT is going to be asking you when you're going to be going through your new entrant audit. So just be aware of that. And again, I'll make improvements, and by that time I'll make some other videos. So if you guys need anything at all, give us a call. We'd love to, talk and help you out if we can. So appreciate your time, guys. Have a wonderful, safe Sunday. And like I said, we didn't have any intro music. We had all kinds of technical difficulties. There's no outro music, but if you guys could help me out, hit the like button, whether you're, watching this video live or on the replay. So thanks for your time, guys, and have a great rest of your weekend. Bye-bye.